Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Someone Like You and Me podcast. Before we begin, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt small when looking at the success of others? Have you ever scrolled through a friend's social media profile, seeing them live a colorful, successful life while you still struggle to find your own path? Maybe it's a former classmate who started their own company, a colleague who just got promoted, or even a complete stranger whose perfectly curated life appears in your feed. You look at them and wonder, why are they successful and I'm not? What am I doing wrong? Or am I on the wrong path? That feeling is like a wave, pulling you into a spiral of self-doubt, self-criticism, and disappointment. It makes you feel like a failure, like someone who is never enough. But today, I want you to pause, put aside all those comparisons and insecurities, and take a moment to listen to your own story. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, relax your body, and let your mind drift with these thoughts. Let me tell you a story about someone I met during a trip to Italy, a man named Lucas. Lucas is a street artist, a former student of a prestigious art academy who gave up a conventional career to pursue his passion for painting on the cobbled streets of Rome. One autumn afternoon, as the soft sunlight gently kissed the ancient stones of the city, I sat beside Lucas, watching him carefully sketch the Colosseum. Lucas shared his journey with me, the early days when he first moved to Rome, filled with youthful passion, but also harsh challenges. He had once tried to make a living by selling his art in galleries, but his work was constantly compared to that of more established artists. He told me about a time when he ran into an old friend from art school, a friend who had become a rising star in the European art scene, praised as the next big thing by the media. That night, Lucas returned to his small apartment, staring at his own paintings and questioning himself. What am I doing wrong? Should I just give up? Those questions haunted him, eating away at his confidence and making him doubt his every brushstroke, every color choice, every detail of his work. It was the moment when comparison turned his passion into a heavy burden. But what makes someone like Lucas, a free-spirited artist who once painted purely for the love of it, feel like a failure when looking at others' success? The answer lies in the psychology of social comparison, a phenomenon that we all experience at some point in our lives. Psychologist Leon Festinger once said, "People have an innate drive to evaluate themselves, often through comparisons with others. This urge to compare comes from our desire to define our worth, to understand if we are good enough, and to seek validation from those around us." But the problem is that these comparisons are often unfair. We measure our real, messy lives against the carefully curated highlights of others, the polished, picture-perfect moments they choose to share. As I sat beside Lucas that day, he paused his painting, looked at me, and said, "I had forgotten why I started painting in the first place. I forgot the joy of watching colors blend on the canvas, the freedom of holding a brush in my hand. I let comparison steal that from me." That was the moment I realized that instead of comparing ourselves to others, we should focus on our own journey. Everyone has a unique path, a different story, and no one else can write it for us. Lucas chose to return to his passion for street art, not for money or fame, but because that was where he found his true self. If you are listening to this podcast right now, remember that you don't need to chase someone else's shadow. You don't need to prove anything to anyone but yourself. Life is not a race. Everyone moves at their own pace, on their own path. The most important thing is not to give up on yourself. Remember, even a wildflower can bloom through the cracks of a dry rock, and so can you, shining in your own way, in your own time. Don't let comparison extinguish the light within you. Be yourself, because that is the greatest gift you can offer this world. Thank you for taking the time to listen. If this podcast resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to follow Someone Like You and Me so you never miss another episode. Until next time, keep shining.